Hey, my name is Rod Allrich. I'm a little distracted here because of the dogs. I thought they would just like sit up here with me, but they want to play ball and have treats. So, Rod Allrich, I work at Purdue this fall of 2023. I am teaching ANSC 345, Animal Health Management, and also ANSC 446, Companion Animal Management. So those are both upper level courses where there's mostly juniors and seniors, a lot of good thinkers, so it's always very active learning because a lot of the students have been doing animal related material, and so we get to talk about what they did and they can explain to us and we all can learn. So it's amazing. Like, for one thing, I'll tell you, Diesel, that's this guy, I'm not sure if you can see his head at all, but anyway, he reminded me that you better not have any grease at the bottom of your grill or Blackstone griddle. I have both of those. They're off screen right now, the two grills, the two different grills. But Diesel was fascinated by the grease that had dripped out of the pan, the overflowing pan under the barbecue grill, and it reminded me that grease and dogs don't go together because a lot of times they might develop, depending on how much they've had, they might develop pancreatitis. So anyway, that's how you learn. Oh, that's right, pancreatitis, so be careful. Grease and dogs, especially dogs that are a little overweight, over their ideal weight, they're more prone to get pancreatitis, and the pancreas just goes wild for some reason if they get a lot of grease. And anyway, so we're gonna have fun this fall. I want to introduce myself, where I've been a little bit, my background, and then I'll get into specifics for each little video I make for the classes. So I was born in North Dakota, and way up in the north central part of North Dakota, where some people say it's really desolate. Is it the end of the world? No, it's not the end of the world, but you can see it from there. The winters are brutal. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and sometime ask me about it in class. So then I spent some early years up through third grade in Detroit, Michigan, and I have fond memories of Detroit. And sometimes people will say, oh, that's a crime-ridden town. What ends up being, every big town now has its fair share or more than the fair share of crime. There's some wonderful people in Detroit. I have fond memories of Detroit. Get back there every once in a while. I had an aunt and uncle that lived there. Always visit them. They both passed away now, so I don't get up to Detroit very often, but when I do, I always try to find some ethnic restaurants. Like there's Hamtramck, Michigan, which is an enclave of Detroit, and they have the best Polish food you'll ever find in the world. Because like this one restaurant I like to go to are owned by people that came from Poland, and and the menu is in Polish, and they have English subtitles basically for people like me, but most of the people there are eating are Polish. So anyway, then moved back to North Dakota, Fargo, North Dakota, then moved to Moorhead, Minnesota, which is right across the river. Graduated from Moorhead, Minnesota. Then went back to Fargo, across the river for NDSU for my bachelor's degree in animal sciences. I happened to pick that out thanks to my great ag teacher in high school. He said, oh, you like to learn about animals, and animal sciences sounds like for you. And he was right. I stayed there for my master's degree, and then went to University of Nebraska for my PhD degree. Actually went to Purdue. I never went to Purdue. I worked at Purdue as a postdoc for a year in beef cattle reproduction. So, and all my mentors during this whole thing did a lot of surgery. I just happened to work with programs that surgery was happening almost every day. So I got a lot of good surgical background. So then I used that when I started at Purdue, a faculty member at Purdue, did a lot of surgery with sheep, swine, and cattle, and so I really got a lot of great experience that way. And most of it is in reproduction, So, like for example, sheep, we electrocauterized ovarian follicles, and then put everything back, and then came back 2.5 days later to see what the ovaries did, and they always grew more follicles. Ends up being, there's always follicles ready to grow. They don't have to wait a whole estrus cycle. It's called waves of follicular development. Anyway, I've been at Purdue for many, many years, a lot of good experience, met some terrific students, and some I'm still in contact with. I mean, it's just, they're wonderful. Next month, well, so this is actually, tomorrow is August 1st. So in September, a student that I had is in my freshman class, Lorene, her and her family are coming up, and we're spending some time together on a weekend in September. They live in the Indy area. So, great. Have other people coming. Joyce didn't get into vet school when she tried at Purdue. She was undergraduate here. She went to Cornell, studied parasites for a year or two. Can't remember. I think she's got her master's degree, and she got into Purdue vet school. So now, later this summer, which I know there's not many days left, her and I and my wife will go out to eat, and she'll tell us about what she did since the last time I talked to her. Anyway, looking forward to seeing everybody this fall. Fall is always more energetic than January. Fall, a lot of people have been gone this summer. They're ready to get back to learning. And in January, it's kind of like, okay, I got it burned out in fall, so it's not as energetic in the spring semester, but that's okay. So, it's been fun seeing you. Maybe one other thing I'll say about, I did say about the bottom of the grease on the bottom of the barbecue grill. Treats, dog treats. No matter how big or small the dog is, the treat should be all the same size. Have you ever gone into a pet store and the company has a treat this long for small dogs, medium-sized dogs, and then a big dog gets like half a pound of I don't know what? That shouldn't be. All treats should be very, like, these are tasty. They're almost like, they smell like steak. And then a bigger dog can just have more treats. But treats should always be all the same size. Right, Diesel? Diesel's a good boy. Yeah, and Annie's a good girl. Annie's spicy. So anyway, I think I'm going to end there, and then I'll make a little part for ANSC 345, stick it on the back here, and then I'll make another part for 446 and stick that on the back of this introduction. So I'll have two separate videos for the two different classes, and then if you have some questions, email me, because I'll in the videos I'll say, oh, maybe think about doing this, or here's something. Do you have any knowledge that can help us on that? You'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, talk to you guys later. You guys did it pretty good. You're pretty hot, huh? Are you ready to go inside for some water? Yeah. Ready? Ready? Oh, Diesel. Annie! Okay, let's go. Well, here we are. I'm going to do this little video for ANSI 446, which is entitled Companion Animal Management. Think of companion animals as pets. Okay, I'm trying to get whatever else on that page gone. Anyway, this course is a 3-credit course, 446, and we have about 60 students, and they're all going to be at least juniors and seniors, and that's going to be great because, wow, if we could pick all their brains and bring out what they know, I'm talking about the 60 students now, wow, it'd be incredible. So anyway, yeah, 446. So now I'm going to introduce the syllabus, and I'm going to enlarge this greatly. And I'll have to get my laser pointer. I'm doing a software package that has a lot of potential, but they've really updated it, really reworked it, and you know how that goes. Then there's a lot of learning to go on. Anyway, we're going to try to empower everybody to be better pet owners. That's definitely what that says. I'm a learning coach. I try to coach you on things that I know and maybe help you learn things that you don't know and I don't know. Anyway, we meet Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2:30 in our animal science building, Crichton. I think that might be CRTN, but whatever. 1011, that's the big lecture hall right across from the main office. And then the labs, although it says in your official schedule we go to another room, we're not. We're going to have everything right in Crichton 1011. So that is a misspelling there, CRTN. That H should be an N, but I'm not going to worry about it now. And we'll have 1 hour in class for the lab, and then 1 hour on your own. So a lot of times we might introduce something and say, go ahead, do it on your own. Our website there, the main one is rodallrich.com. There's a couple of backups. We'll talk about that in class. Now what I've got to do is I need to go someplace else to lift this up. Anyway, we have many course topics that you will kind of guide us on. I mean, look at all these things: genetics and health and parasites and pets and travel and dog attacks. I always am very sad when I read in a newspaper about a dog attacking somebody, either their owners or neighbors or kids, and some of this involves death, and that is just incredibly bad. And so I tell you things about patterns, like here's a pattern that seems to be out playing, and don't let your dogs do this, or don't get into this situation. We can prevent some of these things if we're aware of them. Then you need to do a business enterprise project where you're going to be writing up a 12-page paper on horse boarding and riding stable. Remember, this is companion animals, so it should be about pets. Pets are dogs, cats, horses, reptiles. So let's say in this business enterprise project, you want to make a snake retail store where they sell snakes. Great. Okay, fine. That's good. Or hamsters or ferrets. It's a 12-page paper. We'll be talking about it, but 12 pages of text, and then anything like drawings and stuff should be in appendix, and I will be making sure we do that. Then we have show and tell and learn, where 2 times during the semester you come in, the students, and say, hey, I want to tell you about the latest dog chew I found, the pluses and minuses, pros and cons. I want to tell you about this thing that makes my dog feel better, or what's good for snakes, whatever. And you can bring your animals in. Of course, we have to schedule that, and you have to tell me that they're going to be okay. And so we've had hundreds of dogs in the past cats, ferrets, iguanas come into class. We always try to schedule it so we don't have conflicts. And then there's quizzes that you may do in or out of class. And so that's how you get your points. This project, then show and tell. And the show and tell is basically if you do a job that's respectable, it's an all or none thing. You'll get 100 points per the report. And the pop quizzes might be online. I mean, you might do them online, might do them in class. And we learn about pets. And then here is the course grading scale, which is a 90, 80, 70, 60 bases. And then we also do plus or minus. So that's down here. And I think I'm going to stop right there and go on to the next thing. So the next part of this introduction is to show you when you go to that website, rodallrich.com, you'll get to a page that always says the same thing on top, but the pictures always change. Anyway, you can click on courses, then you'll see something that says companion animal management. You click on that and you'll get to your course material, and I'll show you that in a second. But we did a bunch of DNA tests on dogs. So if you want to see a picture of a dog and then what the company says their DNA background is, you can do that. In my blog, I talk about different current events, especially about dog food. I'm big into dog soup. I make my own dog food. I can tell you about why I did that. When I was younger, I bought the bags of kibble and so forth. But as I go on, I'm more concerned about the quality of the food. I have a YouTube channel. Go to that, look at that, so forth and so on. So that's where you get to my website. And then when you click on companion animal management, you'll get to this page, which we don't have a lot right now, but I will explain it. And so there's a syllabus, which we showed you. And for the first week of class, you're going to go to Brightspace, which hasn't been opened up yet, which I haven't opened up yet. And you're going to watch this documentary, Mine. And it's really going to be, this is going to be like really for the first lab. And so for labs, it's hard to take a bus over to a dog kennel or a shelter someplace. And so we tend to do documentaries that bring up a lot of the same points. Anyway, Mine is a documentary about what happened to New Orleans when Katrina hit, the hurricane, and people weren't really prepared to do anything about pets. I'm not sure if you were even born then, but it ends up being people the National Guard came with helicopters to get people off the roofs of their homes, but they weren't told to take any pets, so pets were left behind. It was quite a disaster. And that's what this documentary is. And so then this says this will be quiz number 1. You're going to upload your summary of this documentary into the quiz 1 space, and we'll be talking about this. And you'll get to basically a week to do that. And then, so this is in the Brightspace, and then Mine is a documentary that I've loaded in the Brightspace. You can't get to it yet. I haven't opened it up yet. But most of these documentaries I will be uploading into Brightspace because although they're, copyrighted, you can show a distinct audience these documentaries if it's an educational experience. So, and not anybody can get into Brightspace. You have to be a Purdue student paying tuition and so forth. So anyway, that's what this looks like. And it'll be a lot of fun. We'll talk about dog treats, cat treats. If you have a great cat. Oh yeah, one of my neighbors has a Maine Coon cat that the other day, I think I convinced her, Dot is her name, to bring her Maine Coon cat to class. He seems kind of cool, like doesn't really get bothered by people. We'll bring him in a cat carrier, and then we'll all be quiet, and then we'll open the door and see what he does. Of course, a Maine Coon is the largest domestic cat in the United States. So, and he's got those pointed ears, and he's very pretty. And I can just see him in Crichton 1011 walking around every table, just looking at people and saying, hey, I'm special. That's what Maine Coon cats do. Okay, that's great. Thanks a lot. See you in class. There's a lot of things we can learn about pets. A lot of us have a lot of experience in pets, and we want to share our knowledge.